What is up, guys? You're about to listen to episode number 11 of the Third Floor Chronicles. This was recorded Sunday, July 10th, right before the 7 o'clock show. This week's special guest is Anjelah Johnson. Check it out. All right, Anjelah, tell us where you're from and where's the first place you performed stand-up at?
What if I answered all the questions like this? Well, no, is that too close? I'm from San Jose, California. First place I performed stand-up was in a coffee shop called the Buzz Cafe.
Nice. How much time did you do?
I think 5 minutes.
Did you prepare for it?
I did. I was in a class. I was in a joke writing stand-up class. And our graduation of the class was we had to perform at a real comedy club. It was in Long Beach. But up until that point, our instructor, our teacher, took us to an open mic. Okay. And it was at the coffee shop. So I think I did like 5 minutes.
Nice. How long were you thinking about stand-up before you actually did it?
I was not thinking about stand-up. It was an accident. I just fell into it. The woman who was teaching the class, she's a comedian named Lisa Alvarado. She asked me if I wanted to take her class, and I had never thought about doing stand-up before. And so I was like, sure, okay, it's free, I guess so.
Did you think it would help some other areas of what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, it has helped my acting, but I didn't even think of it as that at the time. I thought of it as I'm bored, I don't have money, and this is free. It's on a Tuesday night, so sure, why not? And it was fun, but I didn't have any like ulterior motives or anything like that.
Got it. Your first year doing it, how often were you hitting stages?
Not very often at all. At first, I didn't want to be a comic. I just, like I said, I just did it for fun. Mm-hmm. And the open mic scared me. It was, dark rooms, nobody's really laughing at what you say, and it was competitive, and, I'm surrounded by a bunch of boys, and, getting hit on and stuff like that. It was not comfortable for me, so I didn't like doing the open mic scene and stuff like that, but I would, like, if I made friends with a comedian, and they would say, hey, you want to do, like, my Thursday night at, this bar, I'd be like, okay, I'll go do that. But I wasn't hitting up too many stages in the first year.
What was your writing process like that back then as an amateur comic?
Probably better than right now, actually, because I would write down everything that I thought of, and I thought everything was a joke. Like, oh my gosh, my cereal just spilled out of my bowl. I'm going to talk about that on stage. Like, just stupid stuff. So, probably better than now, because now I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to talk about. Yeah. But, I would write down everything, and I feel like I was a little more brave back then, because I would try things, and if it didn't work, I'd be like, oh well. And then now, forget it. If I try something and it doesn't work, I'm like, I'm terrible.
Well, now that you got a busy tour schedule, how do you write now on the road? Do you have a home club? Do you do it on stage?
That's my favorite place to write, is on the road. Because I'm very spoiled. I have a very good audience, a very good fan base, and they come out to have a good time, and they just want to hear me say anything. So they're really, really good laughers. So I'll try something new, and if they give me a good laugh, then I'll be like, okay, that worked. And if they give me kind of like a courtesy laugh, then I'll know it didn't work, but at least I wasn't totally shot down. Oh man, what's wrong with me?
Did you record all your sets? Do you record any of your sets now?
No. I sometimes do. And then I realize I never listened to them. But sometimes I'll record a set if I'm going to try something new. Like, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to try some new stuff. Let's try to record this. But I forget a lot of the time. Like, I'll see the other comics recording and be like, I should have recorded mine. What was I thinking?
When you said you're first doing stand-up, you weren't really into it as much. What made you kind of dive into it a little deeper?
I'll tell you exactly what it was. I did a show early on for a Mormon party. I am not Mormon, but the Mormons love me, I guess. No, it was just this big Mormon holiday party, and they brought out a few different comedians, and I got paid $700 to do it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I'll take this a little more seriously. And that was kind of the turning point for
Do you remember
me.
how much time you had to do for that $700?
Not very much. I think it was like 15 minutes
Nice.
because that's really all the time that I had because I didn't have very much material.
Last year, released your special. That's how we do it. How stressful was it preparing for the special?
Here's the funny part.
And how quickly
Yeah.
did you know about it before you recorded it?
Well, my manager and I had been discussing an hour special for a while, and you know when I was gonna be ready because I had this like cult following, this crazy fan base, and you know Comedy Central, they have a way of doing things. You do a half hour first, and then you do an hour. I hadn't done a half hour yet, but we really felt strongly that I was ready for an hour, considering what I was doing on the road, and you know we went to Comedy Central. And we said we want to do an hour special, and they were like, you know, we have a way of doing things. You got to do a half hour first, and we were like, well, we're ready for an hour, so, you know, you could do it with us, or we'll go do it on our own, and then sell it to HBO or you know TBS or Showtime or whoever, and then they were like, okay, wait a minute, and then it ended up working out. So I got my hour special with Comedy Central, kind of finagled them. Just kidding. Got my hour special, and they were great. They really were. I had a specific vision for my special. You know, I did the whole like play on the Rosie the Riveter, we can do it type women empowerment type thing. You know, just to talk about like I'm a girl doing basically a guy's job. You know, because when you think of stand-up comedy, you think of a guy. You know, and not only that, you probably think of like a 40-year-old Jewish guy probably, or a black guy. You rarely think of a young tiny Latina girl, you know what I mean? So I wanted to talk about how, you know, I was doing a guy's job and doing it well, so I incorporated other females that were doing a guy's job. Like I have the Beat Freaks, they're an all-girl breakdancing crew, and you know, you think of breakdancers, you think of boys, and you know, they're out there killing it. And then I had a DJ, Angie V. You think of a DJ, you think of a boy, and you know, so I just wanted to show women who were doing a guy's job and doing it well, and that's where the whole Rosie the Riveter theme came in. And, you know, Comedy Central was great. They were on board, letting me have the dancers dance at the end. And so I was really appreciative of that. And we actually shot the special in June. And, you know, most comics, you're on the road. You're doing as many spots as you can leading up to your special. I actually ended up booking a movie. And I was filming every day up until my hour special, and I was still filming during it. I had to take a day off to fly, because we shot it in Texas, to fly from LA to Texas and go shoot it. I hadn't been on stage in almost a month. So I was pretty nervous, but not really. I was like, well, I know my act. I know it. And I think I didn't even have time to think about the fact that I haven't been on the road. Like Nate was there. You remember that, Nate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't been on the road at all, and I was like, well, I'm shooting an hour. I probably should have practiced this.
It was like 2,500 people there, too.
Yeah.
It was a big arena. So
It was
wasn't
crazy.
just a club.
Did you have any creative control on the editing after it was recorded?
I did. With an awesome director, Bobcat, who was amazing, and I got to be a part of the process, the whole editing process. I came over to the editing room, and they had a rough edit, and I just kind of went through and said, use this joke, use this one instead, and use this version, because we did 2 shows. And
so you recorded 2 shows for the special?
Yeah, we
Were
recorded.
Were they edited together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we recorded 2 shows. You did one like at 7 and one at 10 or something like that, and then
completely different 2,500 people both times.
Yeah,
nice.
It was crazy. There was like 5,000 people in one night. It was crazy. So we kind of, you do the same show every show, same set, and then you just kind of, edit it together to be like a tight one for the TV. And once you hand it over to Comedy Central, they kind of have the final edits where they don't tell you what they're going to do. And so once I saw it on Comedy Central, there were a few things that I was like, way to cut off the punchline. And one of my jokes, I do a joke about going to church, and the only part of the joke they played was, I go to church, anybody else here go to church? And then people cheered, and then it went to a commercial. And I was like, so now it looks like I'm just taking roll.
You guys need anything, drinks?
We're good. Thank you.
Did you learn anything from that first special that'll help you on the next special?
I'm sure I did. I think my next special, I'm gonna tone it down because this one was a huge production. Like Nate was saying, it was in this like huge arena. I had a DJ, I had dancers, I had this crazy backdrop,
So
like
the
lighting.
scale of the show itself, scale.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. So I think this next special, I'm actually thinking about doing it at an improv and making it a little more just me and a mic stand, like just, you know, simple jokes, storytelling. This is what it is. Thinking, it's not guaranteed. Don't hold me to it.
Is there any idea when you think you might want to do that next hour? Like next year, 2013?
Yeah, I'm working on it now. Like all the material that I'm doing now, I'm trying to make sure that nothing that I say is from that DVD. So trying to, you know, work on a new closer, work on, you know, just something new from that DVD.
When you're doing a weekend at a club like this, are you changing up your set list at all throughout the weekend? Or is it pretty much the same each night?
It's pretty much the same. The only thing that I change is if I do a shorter set, I'll take out jokes. But if I do a longer set, then I'll add in jokes. But my act is like one big story, I feel like, because every joke leads into the next. And, you know, if I'm doing a joke about my family and then all of a sudden I talk about my grandpa, and then my grandpa, he does this, and then I'll talk about something that does. So everything kind of like ties into each other. And I feel like if I were to like start mixing things up, I would confuse myself. Because I feel like everything leads into each other, and then I have tags that I'm like, oh wait, I can't tag it because I didn't do that joke yet, and like, so everything in my act is pretty much like a big story.
That helps too. That way you don't confuse yourself if you did it in an earlier set because it's a story.
Yeah,
it's
and
in chronological order.
I'm always amazed at like Nate. I'll watch Nate mix up his set all the time, and I would be so confused by like Saturday Late Show. Like, wait, did I do this joke in this show, or was that yesterday, or was that earlier? Like, I could never. I would have to look at my list the whole time.
Have you done any 3-night shows on this current tour you're on right now?
I hate doing 3-night shows. I get tired, and it's not a good show for people. If I'm tired, you're tired.
It's after midnight.
Yeah, no thank you. I haven't done a 3-night show in a while.
What's been the best stand-up performance you've had to date? Maybe not crowd-wise, but that you walked away with feeling, that was my best show.
Oh, that was my best show. You know, I don't know. I've had feelings when I've gone off of stage, like, wow, that was awesome. Like, I feel good. Like, I want to do it again. Like, I've had that, but I can't think of a show specifically where that's been, but I do remember a show where I felt like I grew a lot that weekend, and it was a terrible weekend. I did Pittsburgh Improv, and I just came off doing San Jose. We sold out 8 shows. There's 450 people every show. It was ridiculous. I go the very next weekend to Pittsburgh, and I only sold 19 tickets. So I don't know what happened in Pittsburgh that they didn't hear about me yet, but it was very humbling. But I was able to come out of my routine of I have to do this joke, I have to do this one, I have to do only my hitters because everybody paid a lot of money to come see me. I don't want to try anything different and mess it up. So once this show came where there was hardly anybody there, and they were a terrible 19 people, like I think they were forced to come in, like they dragged them off the street to come in, and they were just terrible. So I kind of let down my guard a little bit, and I just started playing with people, mixing up my set, throwing jokes here and there, and so I ended up, it was a terrible weekend as far as like, you know, I didn't sell any tickets, but it was a really good weekend because I got to grow as a comedian and you know, come out of my spoiled touring lifestyle. So.
Last question, probably everyone's favorite. Give us the worst bombing story up to date.
The one that haunts me, it's really not even that bad, but it just was like, I hated it. When I first started comedy, I didn't have my own voice yet. I didn't know what I was supposed to, who I was or anything. So I would try to be who I thought people wanted me to be. And so, I mean, I'm Latina, but my last name is Johnson. So I would try to, when I would do Latin rooms, I would try to be way more Latin than I really was. And they could see right through me. And I think one time I was on stage, a Latin night at the Improv in Hollywood, and I was trying to like keep up the energy, like woo, and then I said something like, everybody say "shao" and nobody says "shao." And I was like, okay. And then I just went off to my joke. Like, I didn't address it. I didn't say anything about the awkward moment we all just shared. I just went to my joke. It was so terrible. And I remember this boy that I liked. He was there that show. That's terrible.
That's usually how it works.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was.
Thanks, Anjelah.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hope you have a good set.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Episode number 11 is in the books. And if you like what you heard from Anjelah, be sure to check out her website, anjelahjohnson.com. Real cool website. She got the blogs on there. She got the merchandise. She got DVDs for sale. Real cool. Also, be sure to visit YouTube. Tons of clips by Anjelah Johnson. Also, check out my website, joeriga.com. I got clips. We got old archives of the Third Floor Chronicles. Become a fan on Facebook and Twitter of the Tampa Improv. You get all the cool deals that we shoot via email towards you guys. And on behalf of Matthew Baldwin, my name is Joe Riga. We appreciate you guys listening. Thank you.